Okay, now I've got an artist that's new to Bluesfest with us today, JK47. G'day and welcome to Bluesfest in some way. How are you?
Oh man, yeah, good yourself.
Oh, listen, pretty good and excited to finally be, having Bluesfest back on the blocks again. Because this is your sort of third go at it too, isn't it? You've been on
Yeah,
you've been on the books, and we're itching to see what you can do up there.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, man.
cool. Now, uh, just to sort of get going, um, your version of your slightly rewritten version of Tupac's Changes was one of the real highlights of Triple J's Like a Version last year. Um, what drew you to doing that? How did that come about?
Um, well, man, like Tupac has always been up there in my books. I was with him for the gangster stuff. Like when I was like younger and naive, like that's what I thought Tupac really was like. Like gangster thug, that this that. But as I looked into him, as I studied him and like looked into his earlier days and stuff, I realized that like like he was more than that. Um, and that this world, that's what like that's what you get. An angry black man after all this time.
Yeah,
And taught me that although a lot of stuff goes on to my race and my culture, I have to keep my temperance. Otherwise, mistakes can be made. And yeah, he's taught me a lot. So I took one of his strongest songs, Changes, and applied it, to where we come from.
yeah. So, how did you choose music back then? I mean, we've only just heard of you a couple of years ago, really, but you've been at it for a while. How did you sort of grow into music? Did it choose you, or did you choose it?
I think everyone's got their own gifts, man. Like a special gift that everyone can do to help contribute to society. So I think God blessed me with this gift. I've always liked music, just like everyone. Like everyone likes music. It's just what kind of music you like. So I was attracted to it. We learn a lot of lessons from it. From music. Um, Grew up pretty rough, so it was a way to escape. And yeah, like I've just um known music like all my life, like like I don't know music, I don't know how to read music, but I feel it. You know what I mean?
Right, right. And in one of your songs, you say in the Red Bull 64 bars, you chose music because the rest of it ain't making no sense. When you spend every second stressing, this is the only way to vent. So this
Yeah,
was you getting, if you like, some of your uh, bad shit out of you. Is that right?
yeah, 100%, man. Like a lot of my rhymes, like when I first started, were bad. So yeah, I did get a lot of bad shit out. Leading up to now, because like you said, I've been at it for a long while, and you only heard of me, 2 years ago. So all those other years, the rest of the 8 years, I was just spent, working on the craft. Um,
Yeah.
when it came to my album, I rewrote three of the tracks because I was in a different place when I wanted to release it. But the songs were sitting there since for like 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's been for people in the public eye, it's been quite a rise because your debut single came out in September 19,
Yeah,
and you took out the Triple J Unearthed National Indigenous Music Award, and then was the Triple J Unearthed Artist of the Year in like 2020. I mean, that's a great meteoric rise in a sense. How did that make you feel?
yeah, it was good, man. Um, never really like like knew what like Triple J did until like I actually like applied myself, and Triple J did their thing. Like you would know, like coming from that background and that, like never really knew what Triple J did for artists. Like I never really even listened to it, but when it came time to release my stuff, my manager was like, "Look, you got to go through these dudes,
Yeah,
like you got to let them know what's up." And we did that, like long way before. Like I think it was like 8 weeks or something before the album even dropped. We gave it to Triple J, and so like they had it and they knew what was coming. So I guess I was just like, oh, okay. So yeah, no, it was unreal. Um, you know, I thank Triple J a lot, for what they've done. Like giving me a platform. Like Blackout Sundays. Like it's dope, and they've come a long way. Like I think we've all come a long way. Like as a country, even though there's still some kinks in that to work out. Really, happy when I see like everyone supporting each other more than just tearing each other down.
yeah,
I see a lot of support and you know
yeah.
giving artists platforms. Like a lot of people do that like nowadays. Whereas back in the day that was unheard of. They weren't putting me on the radio like 50 years ago.
No, I was going to sort of come up to that. Is you seem your message is have always been positive. You seem to find the positive in the negative. I've sort of read a couple of interviews that you've done, and you were just saying like years ago you wouldn't have got airing on. There wouldn't have been nothing for you on the radio. But
Mm.
if you look at the sort of history of like Jimmy Little, Gondwana Land, Warumpi's, No Fixed Address, then Archie Roach, Kev Carmody, the Yoths, Emma Donovan, Shelley Morris, and now sort of like through Troy Cassar Daly to like the Thelma Plums and the Baker Boys and Emily Waramara. Do you feel that you're carrying the torch, or or as I heard you say, sparking the light for your generation and the generations to come?
Yeah, man. Well, our old people, they work their asses off, like to get us where we are today. So who am I to like pass up that opportunity and just let it die? Can't do that. Gotta, as you say, like carry the torch.
Yeah,
Um, and not for my own praise, but to make sure that their work wasn't for nothing. They they really went through it. Back in the day.
that
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, stuff has changed. But it didn't just change on its own. Like it took a lot of fighting. So
Yeah, yeah.
you gotta.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Yeah,
Like,
Emily Waramura said to me, "Yeah, we've come a long way, but we've still got a, but it's still a journey, and we've got a real long way to go yet before anything's
mm,
finished." And I suppose listening to your music, you feel exactly the same way.
yeah, yeah. But like also think if you get too attached to the negative, you won't see the solution like right in front of you sometimes. Living in this paradise, Australia, like it's hard to see the bad sometimes. There's a lot of stuff that goes on in rural communities that we don't even know about. And we get like the top of it. We get the like gist of it here and there, but we don't fully know what's going down in these like communities. Like how they got like just really like big issues that you don't see. Because I'm in Tweed Head, so like like there's resources around here. And there's places to go around here, but like many communities got many resources, and I can't just like turn a blind eye to that because like we're meant to be moving as one, as a country, and we can't be right if another part of the country isn't right. So yeah, I guess it's just about educating yourself and like just finding the balance in between everything. That's all everything is, man. Just balance, that yin and yang, the positive and negative.
Yeah, and you do dwell so much more on the positive. I had a quote just written when I was sort of right at the top of the page that I've got here, which says, "I'm just trying to leave something bigger than myself behind," which is exactly what you were just explaining. Um,
Yeah.
and is that the way is that the future for JK47?
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, these young fellas are watching me, man. My younger brothers and sisters, they're watching me. I don't know if you know this, but my brothers, my older brother and two younger brothers, they rap. They're in a music group themselves. They do hip hop, and they're not really speaking the same message, but they're listening to the message that I got, and it kind of makes them want to have that same message, but they just don't know how to word it because that influence from hip hop and the way it is today, like kind of
Yeah,
like it blinds you sort of, like because you think that's what it is, but it's not. It's whatever you have to say. That's what it's going to be. It doesn't have to be someone else's message. Like the thing that's going to make you an artist is the paint that you put on the canvas. Like, so if you're going to tell someone else's story, it's just going to be that someone else's story, and they might not think it might not relate to people the way that your story from your own self and your own mind and your own heart can.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And your message is positive, but it's also pointed as well. You deal with the Indigenous deaths in custody and Black Lives Matter and the lack of opportunity that's available. Um, uh, do you that is obviously like a strong point for you. You'll keep pushing that message, I presume.
Yeah. No, yeah, like I mean, 100%. Also look at the world though, and like like a whole world view. I know that like there's problems to tackle here, but after we get everything right here, if that ever happens, we then have to go out into the world and create like change on a bigger scale. As I look out into the world, people don't have the freedoms that I have here.
Yeah.
People don't live in this kind of paradise that I live in right here. I'm in Kingscliff, so I'm got the beach, the river, the bush, everything, and I can't get caught up in that paradise because like we're still fighting to keep that. They're still destroying sacred sites today. Without permission. Nothing's
Yes.
really sacred anymore. And that sacredness, that law is, it's what kept order. You know what I mean? Like, the animals going extinct. There's like, the environment is. It's terrible right now, like it's terrible what we're doing. Like I've got to say we because like the leaders and our leaders that are acting, they're acting for us. So like it's we, like, they roped us in, like we're doing this. So like shit, like we got to fight for it. We got to fight against it, I guess, like, I was talking to my uncle about the Murray River and that, and it's all owned by the Crown, but if we all pitched in $20 a week, the whole country, we could buy that river back instead of it being in the control of the leaders and them selling it off and doing whatever they please with it.
Yes.
We could actually fight for it. It's here.
Yes, you're right. It's one person can't change the world, but lots of small actions can. And I think we saw that when the Black Lives Movement started, it was just instantly global. It was a lot of little people suddenly going, you know what, that's enough. That's
Yeah.
enough. And yes, the change may not affect immediately, but let's just hope that change is now affected and will continue to be affected, and those that cause those deaths, just
Mm.
before that moment, they go, you know what? I've got to back off. This is not right anymore. This is not. This is wrong. The wrongs have to be righted. We can't go back, but we do have to look forward to a new and hopefully bright future.
Yeah. Like, I can't lose faith in the other side, like the other side, like the people that disagree with me and that don't stand with me, like, am I supposed to just want to kill them off? Am I supposed to just want to like eradicate them? Like, nah, like if we're ever going to make a change, we got to find a way to get everyone on the same side. Otherwise, if we just want to get rid of the other people that don't stand with us, well, that's just me being them, isn't it? Like that's just, the roles switching around. Like I'm not going to let them turn me into something that I'm not. No matter what they do to me, I'm always gonna stay on this, love tip. I'm always gonna stay on this positivity tip, because they could, they got the power to control everything around me, but they don't have power over me. They don't have power over my mind. Like they can't stop my happiness because my happiness doesn't come from them. My happiness comes from God. My happiness comes from the things that are, that are around me. My happiness comes from my son and, my history, the person that I'm meant to be,
Yeah,
and the people that my people were, they were warriors and, they were so much more than hunter gatherers. We were just, the oldest living culture on earth, and we're still living today.
absolutely, absolutely. And I have another quote from you here, which says, "I've just got to walk in love, in forgiveness and empathy." And I was going to bring up the fact that you now have a son, and ask, did that change the way you looked at life and the way you worked and the way you now write your flow?
100%. I'm 100%. Knowing that he's gonna be old enough to one day listen to my songs, like it can't be nothing that's gonna lead him astray. Like if I'm gonna put something down, I better know what the heck I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like I find myself so often writing, lyrics and then deleting them because I'm like, nah, I don't believe that. But um, when you learn certain things about the world and about yourself, you can't write the same. You can't think the same. You can't even act the same. Otherwise, that's just going backwards. And we're
right.
supposed to be evolving. We're supposed to be growing. We're supposed to be learning. And
Yeah,
what you do when you learn is that it's like when Kevin Rudd said sorry. If you say sorry, you don't do that shit again. You don't do it again. You say sorry. You learn what you did wrong. You confront these things. Acknowledge these things, but don't let it have a hold over you. Like no, confront it, acknowledge it, learn from it, move on. You know.
yeah. Well, we're looking forward to finally getting to see you here at Bluesfest, JK. Um,
Yeah.
what can we expect? What's your setup? What's the band you're bringing? Is it the one that you did the like a version with?
No, it's a different band. The band that I was originally gonna come do like a version with, they're coming with me. Um, had to switch up because of the COVID restrictions for
Yeah,
like a version.
yeah,
So, had to get a whole new band 2 weeks before we went and did the like a version. So I'm gonna bring the band that I was originally gonna come down there with, and yeah, I'm just gonna do our thing.
give them a shout. Who's in the band?
Jarrell Slab on the drums and vocals, Bonham Slab on the bass, John Finkel on keys, and Matty Gray on guitar, and
Is
Jay on the decks. Jay
and
Orient.
yeah, is that pretty much who did that song "Colors" with you?
Yeah, Jarrell is the singer. Yeah,
Yeah,
and the drummer. And Bonham was the bass player. Yeah, yeah, they all contributed to that beat and yeah, that song together. Yeah.
yeah, because that was another highlight. I'm not a great hip hop specialist, but that song was just right to me, right on the money. It was just beautifully done, beautifully presented,
Thank you.
with a very strong, pointed message as well. It was fabulous. I'm looking forward to seeing that then at Bluesfest.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Me too, man. Look forward to playing.
Okay, well, thanks for your time, JK. And between now and then, travel safe, stay safe, and we'll see you in a few weeks.